One of the biggest questions people ask before moving anywhere is a pretty simple one. What does it actually cost to live there? Usually when people ask that about Central Florida, what they're really trying to figure out is this. Does the lifestyle actually match the financial reality? Because on the surface, Central Florida can look very appealing. Sunshine, theme parks in your backyard, newer communities, no state income tax, and in many cases, homes that look more affordable than what people are used to in places like New York, Massachusetts, or California. But the truth is, the cost of living here is a little more nuanced than people think. There are areas where Central Florida does feel like a better value, but there are also costs that surprise people, especially if they only look at the price of the house and not the full financial picture. So in this video, I'm going to break down the real cost of living in Central Florida in 2026. The things that actually affect your monthly life once you get here. Everything from investments to haircuts. My name is Barrett Spray with the Barrett Spray team at Keller Williams Advantage Realty. We help families, professionals, and investors relocate throughout the Central Florida area. We service areas including Orlando, Winter Park, Lake Nona, Oviedo, Claremont, and almost all of the surrounding communities. The biggest mistake people make is focusing only on the purchase price. The home price matters, but it doesn't tell you what your life will cost. What matters is the full monthly ownership picture. Mortgage, taxes, insurance, homeowners associations, utilities, commute, lifestyle. All of it matters. Two people with the same budget can have completely different experiences depending on how those pieces come together. So the better question isn't what's the cheapest house, it's what does it cost to live well in the right place for me? That's the question that prevents regret. Let's start with housing. Compared to some northern markets, you can often get more house for the money here. But coming from smaller or lower cost markets, Central Florida can feel very expensive. So it really depends on your point of reference. Once you narrow down to the areas people actually want to live in, pricing tightens quickly. Central Florida is not one market. It's a collection of submarkets. Location, schools, commute, home age, all of it affects pricing. According to the Orlando Regional Realtor Association, as of early 2026, median pricing in and around Orlando is about $350,000. Average price is closer to $470,000. That's why strategy matters more than just price. Property taxes are another important piece. Florida doesn't have a state income tax, but that doesn't mean everything is low cost. Taxes are based on the value of the property, what's called ad valorem taxes. And when you buy a home, those taxes can and probably will reset closer to your purchase price. So what you see online currently isn't always what you'll pay. One of the biggest surprises for out-of-state buyers, you want to understand the future tax, not the current one. Now let's talk about insurance. This is one of the biggest cost variables in Florida home ownership. Two similar homes can have very different insurance costs. Roof, age of the house, type of construction, wind mitigation, location, all of it matter. So a home that looks like a deal may not feel like one after insurance is factored in. That's why we always look at the total monthly cost, not just price. Let's spend a little more time on utilities, because this is one of the most underestimated parts of living in Florida. Utilities here are directly tied to how you live, especially because of the climate. Air conditioning is not an occasional thing here. It's a part of daily life. For much of the year, your AC is running almost every day. And during the summer months, that becomes one of your biggest drivers of your electric bill. Now, how much of that affects you depends on the home. Larger homes cost more to cool. Older homes may be less efficient. Windows, insulation, and HVAC systems all play a role. Even shade from the trees can make a difference. So when someone buys a larger home because it feels like a better value, they don't always factor in the ongoing cost to maintain it. And this is where people can unintentionally stretch themselves. The payment may feel fine, but the total monthly cost tells a different story. Now, newer homes can be more efficient, which helps, but cooling is still a constant here. So utilities are predictable, but they are not insignificant. Transportation is another cost people don't always factor in. Central Florida is very car dependent. And because we don't have a state income tax, many of our major roads are also toll roads. You'll get discounts with toll passes, but costs still add up. In some cases, people spend more here in tolls than they would on a state income tax elsewhere. Add in gas, maintenance, and time, and it becomes a real factor. And if you choose the wrong location, the biggest cost isn't money, it's frustration. This is one of the biggest mistakes we see. Homeowners association fees are another piece of the puzzle. Most newer communities here have some sort of mandatory homeowners association. That means you are a part of it whether you want to be or not. The fees associated with homeowners associations typically are in direct proportion to the amenities that the neighborhood has. More amenities equal higher fees. Some people love the amenities, others don't. But either way, it's a cost you need to factor in. Then there are everyday costs. Groceries, dining, activities, childcare. These add up over time, just like anywhere else. What Central Florida offers is flexibility. You can live very high-end or very practical, but that's not automatically cheap. Value depends on how your lifestyle aligns with your decisions. Now let's spend a little more time on income, because this is one of the most misunderstood parts of this entire conversation. People often assume that if housing is more affordable, everything else will feel easier financially. But that's only true if your income stays the same. Florida is a right-to-work state, and wages here are often lower than in northern states. So if you're earning locally, your income may adjust along with your cost structures. Now, if you're bringing income with you, remote job, business investments, that's a completely different situation. In that case, Florida can be very attractive. No state income tax means you keep more of what you earn. And for higher income households, that can be significant over time. That's one of the reasons we've seen so much migration into Florida. But here's the key takeaway. Cost of living is not just what things cost. It's how your income interacts with those costs. So the better question is not just what does it cost, but how does my situation fit into that cost? When people ask about cost of living, what they're really asking is how to avoid making a mistake. And that comes down to location strategy. The right area makes everything easier. The wrong area makes everything feel more expensive. Cost of living isn't just money. It's time, it's stress, and it's lifestyle fit. So what does it cost to live in Central Florida in 2026? It depends on the full picture, not just the price. If you want help understanding what this looks like for you, feel free to reach out. And next, watch the best places to live near Orlando, where we connect cost to location.